God bless you and welcome to Sunday School. I'm Elder Rock Wilson. Our subject today is the glorious new creation. So when we're talking about a new creation or a glorious new creation, we're talking about a different place at a different time for different people. It's a different place because it's a place that won't resemble the life or the earth that we live in now. It's a different place and a different time and different people because now we have been redeemed. Christ has gathered all his saints together and we have been redeemed. So this is a glorious new creation, a different place for different people at a different time. So we're looking at Isaiah chapter 65, verse 17 through 25. And it says, "For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind." So that says a whole lot right there by itself. It says, I create. Now this is not Isaiah saying that he create, but these are the words of the Lord. He said, I create. This same God that created everything from the beginning is preparing to create again. Now, God has the power to do this. He has the power to recreate what he has created. So when he first created the earth and the things of the earth, he said that it was good. So God's first creation was virtuous and it was right. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the word that God has created. Now, of course, we're talking about a time that that was before man came into the world and filled the earth with sin. So God knows how to create, and he knows what to allow in the new earth. He's seen it all. He's seen the behavior of mankind. So he knows how to create and what to create in the new world. Now this is why this earth has to be destroyed. It has to be put down. So the new earth can produce the glorious nature of God. So he revealed this to Isaiah, the end times of the new earth. New meaning that there may be some similarities such as land, but the atmosphere is going to be totally different. So the atmosphere would not, or the environment would not be the same. This is because all of the former things shall not be remembered anymore, nor come to mind. Now that says a lot, not to have certain things to come to your mind, that all the bad things that happened in your life, all the bad things that could have happened in your life, these things will not show up anymore because we are now in the glorious new creation. So the environment of sin in the new earth has been destroyed. And we thank God for that. The environment of sin in the new world has been destroyed. And the new earth is so beautiful. It is so glorious that all the things that concerning the earth as we know it now will be completely forgotten. It is so glorious that it is going to make everybody that lives there completely forget everything about the former or the old earth. Okay, so this environment that we live in now, live in the new earth, will be so much better than what we see now. This new heaven is for his glory to be revealed. The new heaven is for his glory to reveal, and the new earth is for the redeemed humanity. We have been redeemed, right? Because we have put our faith, we've built our trust in Christ, and Christ has gathered us together. We've been redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. Verse 18 says, "But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying." Now God is going to give his people a reason to rejoice. He will create a new Jerusalem for rejoicing, and a people of joy. It's a joyous place for joyous people. Out of all the things that Jerusalem has gone through, all the shortcomings and disappointments that Jerusalem has gone through, God is going to create Jerusalem rejoicing. Now, one of the best things about this new earth is that in this new creation, it will cause all things to change, as it says in verse 19. The former things, like the voice of weeping, shall be no more. All of that will be gone. There will be no place found for weeping. The voice of crying, that won't be found in the new earth. Can you imagine the number of tears that you or your loved ones have cried upon this earth? Where you won't have to cry anymore, because there will be nothing that you could face or nothing that you could have that will cause you to cry anymore. This is the new and glorious creation that we're talking about today. So we're talking about a new and glorious creation. Plus, on the top of all of that, we'll be able to see his face. We shall behold him. So this will all happen in the new and glorious creation that God has fixed for us. Now, this all sounds so very, very good. But how long are we going to be able to enjoy this? How long will we be able to enjoy this? How long will this joy last? How long will this peace last? How long will all this goodness last? When we look at verse 20, it talks about the lifespan of those that will live in the new earth. Verse 20 says, "There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that have not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed." So they have several things going on in this particular verse. So the first thing it talks about, it said, no more infants of days. This is talking about no early death. Now, we see a lot of that in our society today, where babies are born and they might live a few days and they die, or they might have what they call crib death, or there are children that are born with cancer. None of this would take place anymore. There would be no more infants of days. But from their birth to 100 years old, they would still be considered just a babe. So we're talking about babies here. So let's kind of clear up something. This is not concerning the redeemed of the Lord, the redeemed saints, because we have been changed. Christ had come back and gathered us, and we have now changed. So now we have a glorious body. So being into marriage and engaging in marriage, that's not a part of us anymore. But these people that is talking about that having babies are the people that was left here. We can remember that Christ comes back as the second coming, and he raptures the church, and all the saints go back with him. But life goes on here on earth. There are people that will be left here. Now, some of those people will give their life to God. They will give their life to God because they kind of know what's going on, because they've been in church, they've been around church, and they've heard of the rapture, but they really didn't believe it. So they really didn't give their hearts to God. So they didn't get raptured. So those people will be here. There also will be people that that didn't give their hearts to God, that were maybe following after the voice of Satan. Those people will be here because life goes on after the rapture, even though it will be a tribulation period. But those type people will be here. So these are the people that will be having the babies. So there will be no more early death of the babies. Now, when we get to the next group that it talks about in this particular verse, it says, to the older people of 50 to 70 years old, if you consider 50 old, maybe 70, under the rule of Christ, they will fulfill their days. They could live another 100 years. See, whatever age they are when Christ's rule starts, their time counter starts over. So they could live another 100 years if they obey the rule of Christ. So even at a person that might have been 70 years old, but they were left out of the rapture, and now they're under the rule of Christ. After 100 years, they will still be considered fairly young. Now, but those that don't obey in the time period under Christ's rule, the sinner, meaning those who refuse to change and obey the rule of Christ during the 100 years or making progress during this time, will be as a stubbornly child, refusing to grow. Because this is a time of learning, and this is a time of growing. Now, the one who dies at 100 years old, it will be as a child, but refuse to grow. And the one that dies before 100 years old will be considered a curse. It will be considered as a sinner. But what this is actually showing us is showing us the compassionate love and grace of God. Because in his word, he tells us that he would that all should repent and none should perish. So God, with his great love and his great grace, even though some of these people rejected him and was left out of the rapture, God still loved them enough to give them another chance. This is the grace of God. This is the long suffering of God. So they will still have a chance under the rule of Christ. So since we're in this time period of the rule of Christ, and how long how will the people actually live? How will they actually live in this new rule of Christ? Well, it's a whole lot better. Let's look at verse 21. It said, and they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. And they shall build, it said, they shall not build and another inhabit. they shall not plant, and another eat. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and my elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. So this is going to be totally different from how we see society today. It says they shall build houses and inhabit it. You won't have to work for the construction company no more and build a house just to pass by and look at it. But you shall build a house and inhabit it. That means there's no more laboring in vain. There's no more labor in vain. You know, in our society today, you could labor, but you could never receive, sometimes never receive the reward of your labor. So it said, they shall not build and another inhabit. You won't have to worry about building for someone else, building and labor, and then somebody else come and take over. He said, they shall not plant and another eat. He said, for your days will be long. Your days in the new earth shall be long, and you're going to enjoy the works of your hand. Verse 23 said, and they shall not labor in vain. This is what we just got through talking about or saying. Nor bring forth for trouble. For they are the seeds of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them. So there's no more laboring in vain. And it shall come to pass in verse 24, it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer. And while they are yet speaking, I will hear. Now listen to that. It shall come to pass that before they call, not during they call, but before they call, I will answer. Can you imagine being in your own home and you have someone that's there working for you, and they take care of the home for you, and they do some cooking for you, and do some house cleaning for you, and they are such a good servant that before you want something, they've already brought it to you. You will say, seriously? Somebody has a employee like that? But this is how God has prepared things for us. This is how he has set up things for us. That in this new earth, that he loved his people so much that he's going to cherish them, that even before they call, he will answer. Even while they're yet speaking, while the words are still coming out of their mouth, he said, I will hear. Verse 25 said, the wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lamb shall eat straw like the bullock, and thus shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain, said the Lord. So everything goes back. Everything goes back to the original order. See, God never intended for violence to be the rule of nature. God never intended for animals to eat other animals. God never intended for man to make war against another man. This was all caused by sin. It was all caused by sin entering into man's selfish will. But in this new earth, the wolf and the lamb will be able to live with each other. Remember in the first creation, when God spoke all the animals into existence, Adam was able to name them. He was able to go out, or the animals was able to come to him, but he was able to name them in peace. He wasn't worried about a lion or a tiger attacking him from behind. because there was a rule of order there, and the order was peace. So in this new earth, there will be a great rule of peace and harmony. And nothing will ever hurt or destroy in this new earth, said the Lord. Now, sometimes we just need to sit back and we need to think about what measures God had actually gone to prepare this type of place for us. Now, Jesus told his disciple that I go away to prepare a place for you. When he spoke that, this new earth that we're talking about now, this glorious new creation that we're talking about today, was set in motion. Now, Jesus was in the wilderness being tempted of Satan. And one of the things that he told him, he said, man should not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. So if something comes out of the mouth of God, and we know that God speaks truth, if something comes out of the mouth of God, it is like a promise. It is true. And we can trust in that, because if he spoke it, he's going to perform it. So sometimes we just need to sit back and realize and appreciate the love and the grace and the compassion that God has for mankind. He has created already, even though we're not living in it now, but his word has already been spoken. So we are not seeing it now, but it has already happened because God has spoken it. So God has spoken this great, glorious new creation for us. And we're going to enjoy it. We're going to see it. And it's actually going to happen because it's a promise of God. Now, we all can't preach the gospel. We all can't or may not have the opportunity to teach the gospel. But we all have one thing in common. We all have the Great Commission. So whether we preach, whether we teach, or whether we testify, our job is to share the gospel. Because we can imagine or just think about somebody's going to miss this great new glorious creation. And I tell you, I wouldn't be jealous one bit of whoever make it, whoever get a chance to take part of this new glorious creation that God has prepared for us. So let's get the word out there about the gospel. Let's hear the gospel, do the gospel, and share the gospel.